again. This is the third video, part 3, and I remembered what I forgot on the in the last video. Okay, in the last video, I forgot one more thing that I wanted to mention, and I remember now. Okay, so we talked about the regular and irregular verbs. And we talked about base forms, past tense, and past participle forms, okay? Now, in the regular form, in the regular verbs, the past form and the past participle are exactly the same, okay? So that's another easy thing about regular verbs. Remember, I only have the irregular verb sheet for you, okay? Why is that? Why don't I have a regular verb sheet? Okay, I don't have one because you don't need one. It's so easy, okay? But, so, past tense is always same as past participle in the regular verb, okay? So that's the good news. What's the bad news? Bad news is that, especially if you're learning English as a second or third language, it can get a little confusing. I mean, it's good that, you don't have to memorize too many forms, but at the same time, because certain things are, just one form for two different things, it can get confusing. Okay, for example, in past tense, you say I worked. I worked. In present perfect, which we'll talk about in another video, in present perfect, you say I have worked. Okay, I have worked. So you have worked in the past tense and worked in the present perfect tense. Yeah, they're same words, right? Because they're always same, right? So it's the same spelling, same pronunciation, but the meanings are different. They're different. They're not same, right? I worked and I have worked. In another language or in different languages, these two forms might be different. Just like in irregular verb. In irregular verbs, they might be same or they might be different. But in the regular verb, they're always the same. They're same in form, but they're different in meanings, right? Okay. So this word is this one, right? And this word is this one. Okay. So even though it's good that it's the same form, so you don't have to memorize a lot of different forms, but it can get confusing. Okay, and we'll talk more about this in a future video. Okay. All right. If you have any questions about this, email me or text me, okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, for the Spanish speakers, I worked is yo trabajé, and I have worked is yo he trabajado. Okay, so it's very clear in Spanish, but in English, it can get confusing. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about something a little bit different. Something that you probably don't hear too much about in an ESL class. Okay, I want to talk about do. Okay, that's an irregular verb, as you know. What is it? Do, did, done, right? Do, did, done. All right, I'm going to talk about these three forms. First two are present tense forms. Do and then does is what? Third person singular. He does, she does, it does, and then did is the past tense form. Okay. Now, reason why I want to talk about this is because I think this is very important, especially for conversational English. Now, if you listen to Americans talk, you'll hear a lot of do, does, did. When they talk, do, does, did, do, 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 do. Okay, and when you're fluent, it just comes out naturally, and you don't think about it, and it's easy. But when you're trying to learn, as a second or third language, it can get confusing, and you forgot to use it correctly, or you forgot to use it at all, right? So, for example, you say instead of saying I do not work, I hear a lot of ESL students say I no work. I not work. Okay, because you don't use do, does, did. Or like in question forms, I mean, we understand when you say, you work, you work. But what's the best way to say that? You say, do you work? Okay, or you can say, your husband work, your husband work. Okay, that's fine. We understand. But what's the better way? You say, does your husband work? Okay, so right there. So there are three reasons. Okay, three reasons why we need to use do, does, did. Okay, it's very, very, very. I don't know if it's unique, but it's very special in English language that we use do, does, did to make sentences. Okay, all right. So first one is what? To make negation. Okay, to make negative forms. Okay, negative forms. And then second one, I already talked about first two. To make a question. Okay, to make a question, we use do, does, did. Okay, and then we have another reason. Another reason. And what do you think that is? When do we use do, does, did in English? Okay, we use it to make negative forms. We use it to make question forms. What's another one? Do, does, did. Anybody know? Who knows? Okay, so if I say do you work? Okay, if I ask a question, do you work? Okay, the person might say, yes, I do, or yes, I work. I work every day. Okay, or I work 5 days a week. I have a job. Yes, I do. Okay, I work. But what if I said, just to make a point here, just to teach a lesson. What if I say, I don't believe you. I never see you work. Do you really work? Do you really, really work? Okay. And then what would the person say? Person says, when I asked the first time, do you work? He'll say, yes, I do. Or yes, I work. Okay? Every day. Okay? But if I asked him, I don't believe him. I said, do you really work? Do you really? Come on, be honest. Do you really work? He might say, yes, I do work. Okay? I do work. Okay? So what is that? What's the difference between yes, I work and yes, I do work? What's the difference? They're both positive. They're both affirmative sentences. But what's the difference? Do. Okay. And what's the difference in meaning? Do is an emphasis. Okay. When you use do, does, did in the affirmative sentences, it shows emphasis. You're emphasizing. Okay. It's stronger. Okay. It's stronger. Okay. So emphasis. Emphasis in the positive, okay, or emphasis in the affirmative, okay. So that's when we use it, okay. So when you say I do work, okay, or let's say you do work. Now, what can you do? You can flip it around and say, do you work? Or you can say. You can put a negative and you can say, you do not work. Okay? So you got do, do. Okay? So in English, in the affirmative sentences, in the affirmative forms, we don't use do, does, did. Okay? We don't use do, does, did. Normally. Okay? Normally we don't. Okay, we use it in negative forms. Okay, I do not work. She does not work. We did not work. Okay, and we use it in the question form. Okay, did they work? Do we work? Does it work? Okay, so we use it. We use it in the question form. Okay. But we don't use it normally We just say I work, you work, okay, in the affirmative form, except when we're trying to emphasize something, when we're trying to make a case, make something, stronger. Okay, so you say, yes, I do work. Yes, I do work. So if I said, uh, does your husband work? Does your husband work? And she might say, yes, he works. Okay, I said, does he really work? Does he really work? Yes, he does work. Yes, he does work. Okay, we use that because he is third person singular, right? Yes, he does work. All right. And then if I asked, let's say, did you, as in several people, did you work last weekend? Did you work last weekend? They said, yes, we did. Yes, we worked last weekend. I said, you know what? I don't think you guys worked. Did you really work last weekend? And they would say, yes, we did work last weekend. Yes, we did work last weekend. Okay? So, in English, you're going to hear a lot of do, does, did. Why? Because in the negative sentences, we have to use them. In the question sentences, question forms, we have to use them. And also, normally we don't use do, does, did in the affirmative sentences, in the positive sentences. But when you're trying to emphasize something, when you want to make a case, make a stronger case, then you use do, does, did in the positive, in the affirmative. Okay? All right, let's do a little bit of practice now. Let's do a little practice. Okay? Let's do a little practice. All right. So if I say they play. How do you make that with an emphasis? We say they play, right? They play. How do you make that with emphasis? Exactly. They do play. They do play. Okay. How do you make it negative? They no play. They not play. No. They do not play. Or if you contract, they don't play. Right. And how do you make question form? They play. They play. They play every day. They play. They play. They play soccer. No. You say, do they play? Do they play soccer on the weekend? Okay. Do they? Okay. That one's easy. What if I said, she cooks? She cooks. What if I say she cooks? Can you make it with emphasis? Okay. You say, she do cooks? She do cooks? No. This is third person singular now. Okay. So you gotta say what? She does. She does cooks? She does cooks? No. You get rid of the S. Why? Because of the does. When you use do, does, did, the main verb goes to base form. Okay? Remember that. Okay? So, here they do play. Okay, play is already base form, so you don't change anything. But in the third person singular, she cooks, right? You put that S because it's third person singular. But when you use does, you take out the S. Okay? Anytime you use do, does, did, you must what? The main verb, okay? Main verb turns back to the base form. Okay? So she does cook. Now she does cooks. Okay? She do cooks? No. She do cook? No. She does cook. She does cook. Okay? What if I said we learned, okay? Past tense. We learned. How do you make that with an emphasis? We learned. Okay? Okay. Did you learn? Did you learn English last week? Did you learn? Yes. Yes, we learned. Did you really learn? Did you really learn anything? And you say, yes, we yes, we did learned. No, no, no. Okay? No more learned, okay? You say, yes, we did learn English last week, okay? So when you use did, does, okay, do, when you use those, main verb goes to base form. Whether it's a third person singular in the present or past tense form, you wanna turn that back into base forms, okay? Base forms when you use do, does, did. Okay? Do, does, did. Okay? All right, let's try one more. Let's try one more, or maybe a couple more. Okay? What if I said, what if I said, they went. They went to the party, okay? Went. They went to the party. What if I said, make that with an emphasis? You say, this with an emphasis, okay? You say, they, what? Okay? Did they go to the party last weekend? Yes, they went to the party. Did they really go? Yes, they what? They did go. Okay, why go? Because of did. When you use do, does, did, the main verb. This is the main verb, right? The verb has to go to the base form. And what's the base form of went? Go. Okay. Okay. Went is a past tense form, right? Okay. It's go, went, gone, right? Go, went, gone. So yes, they did went. You say they. Yes, they did went. You hear Americans make mistakes like that all the time. Okay. Yes, they did went, or yes, they have went. Okay, but you don't want to do that. You wanna make it into the base form in the simple past. Okay, and then use gone for present perfect. All right. So they did go, not they did went. Okay. Very good. Easy enough. And then how do you make that into a question form? You say, did they go? Did they go? Okay, you just flip. Did they go? And how do you make it negative? They did not go. They not go. They no go last weekend. No, they did not go. They didn't go. If you contract, they didn't go. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. Let's do one more. One last one. One last one. One last one. Okay. What if I said, we do? We do. We do. Okay, let me ask you a different question. How do you make that negative? How do you make negative? How do you make that negative? We do. We don't? No, that's not good. It's not we don't. It's not we don't. Okay? Or let's not contract it. We do not. Okay? Is that we do not? No, that's not complete. You gotta say what? We do not do. Okay? We don't do. Okay, let's make it. Let's do like let's say homework. Okay. Okay, we do homework, right? We do homework every day. If you say we don't homework every day, we do not homework every day. No, you gotta say we do not do homework every day. Okay, so even do needs do, does, did. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, even do needs do, does, did. Okay, so this do, okay, we do homework, okay, is this one. Okay, what's this do? That one is over here. Okay, it's that do. Okay, that's that do that we put in to make it negative. Okay, got two do's, but that one is this one, and this one is that one. Okay, we do not do. Okay, so even do needs do. Okay, so you hear how do you make an emphasis? So this is a negative. How do you make it with an emphasis? We say we do homework. Okay, we do homework. Okay, so is this do is this one, and this one is this one. Okay, for emphasis. Okay. We do homework. Sounds funny, right? But you hear that a lot. We did do homework. We do homework. Okay. She does do homework. Okay. So you'll hear that as in the positive for emphasis. Okay. So Uh, this is this is very important to be able to use do, does, did in the right in a correct manner. Okay, because I know a lot of ESL students. We want to skip do, does, did, but that's what we do. We use do, does, did for negation, questions, and emphasis in the positive. Okay, and let me just talk about one more little thing. We have do, does, did, would, could, should, may, might, ought to, what's another one? Can, must. There are more. I can't remember every. Even will. You cannot use that. Will, shall. Okay. These are all called modals or helping verbs, auxiliary verbs. Okay. Whatever you want to call them. When you use these words, okay. When you use these words, the main verb goes to base form. Okay. So, for example, if I say I am here, okay, I am here. What do? You say if I change that and put a must there, I must what? You say I must am here? No, when you use that modal, you gotta use the base form. I must be here. I must be here. If I say she cooks, for example, she cooks, okay, but if I said she can, if I use that can there, it becomes what? She can cooks? No. She can cook. Okay? So when you use these modals, okay, the main verb goes to base form, okay, including do, does, did. Okay? I hope you enjoyed the video. We will continue on Wednesday and hope to see you then. Okay? Bye-bye.